My boy a beady on Lamron on them. They say he ain't putting in no work. Shut up. If I catch another individual talking sweet about Chief Keef, I'm gonna be beating them up. You know they roll with Lorisi in them. Hello, and welcome to this walkthrough of building and setting up your mobile app. By the end of this, you will know the concepts and process to be able to build your mobile app without needing any technical knowledge, whether you're building an app for yourself or for someone else. And hi, my name is Dean. I've been in tech for 8 or 9 years, depending on if you count internships. And actually, how I got started was mobile app consulting work, where I was the only developer working with a client. So not only did you have to make things work from a technical side of things, but you also had to make them work in the context of the client who was using them, because the real world is different from your imagination when you're building stuff. And that helped me land a job at Amazon Alexa, where I worked with a ton of really talented engineers and learned a lot of tricks and tactics that I'll be sharing with you guys from there. But I didn't like the big corporate environment, so I went to a VC-backed AI startup to be on their founding engineering team. I will be sharing all the concepts that I found most valuable and relevant to you in this video. But the main part about this is to show that you don't need to be technical or have any coding experience to be able to build apps. Because we're not going to be writing any lines of code. We're literally just going to clearly plan what we're actually going to make, and then talk with Claude Code about that for a bit, and then answer a few questions to make sure it's what we actually want. It really is that simple. And when you see this be done, you will know that you really don't need any technical knowledge for this, and you will know how to do it, even though you'll probably pick up a few things on the way. So what is the app we'll be building? Well, I wanted to use a real one with a real client to show you how it's actually built. And conveniently, my Muay Thai gym asked me to build an app for them, and normally I would charge $100 an hour, but I knocked it down to 60 in exchange for being able to show the behind the scenes to you all. So you will see the exact process for building a real app for a real client, and the best part in later videos is we will go over feedback we get from them and how you adjust the project to make sure you succeed with them. Because again, just building an app is one thing, but having an app be a successful project for a client is a slightly different thing. And for this video, we're just going to be going over the setup and foundation, because getting the beginning stuff right will save you a lot of time and headaches down the road. And that's how I'm able to charge normally $100, but in this case, 60. By being much more time efficient, you can charge a higher hourly rate and still be below market value for an app. It's a win for me, and it's a win for my clients. In later parts, we'll go over how to actually deploy it in the App Store, and also how to maintain it so when you get users, you make sure the quality stays high, and how we will handle feedback and adjustments from a real client who is the owner of the gym. Because those other parts are really important in making sure the project is successful, just as much as having Claude Code build the app correctly. And it's great to continuously learn from other builders. Some of the most valuable stuff I learned was from my coworkers at Amazon or the VC-backed AI startup. And that's why I put together a community of builders to share knowledge and tricks with each other for people who want to get and stay at a high level. And if that sounds like you should give it a look. Let's start building this app. So let's get to building. We are starting from absolutely nothing, which is great because you will actually get to see a real world application of building this stuff from the ground up. Now, as mentioned earlier, most of what will make you a better vibe coder isn't technical knowledge, unless if you're doing like distributed systems at Meta, like optimizing their cloud computing or like making an app on the scale of Amazon. Sure, you definitely need to have a very solid technical background and technical understanding of things. But here, if you're making an app for a company, for a local business, like I think the days are gone of needing to have a technical understanding in order to do that. Now, you will need to have patience because things will break and you'll need to be able to fix them. But the most valuable thing you will bring is exactly what humans have and AIs don't, and that is lived experience. You can imagine what it's like to use an app at a gym. You've maybe done that before. You know what you like about it. You know what you don't like about it. You can imagine what other people using it might be like. So those are things that you having a clarity of vision will bring. AI does not have clarity of vision. So that is your strength, is clarity of vision. And downstream of that is you will be able to make much better decisions based on that. So we're starting from absolute scratch, like empty folder. All I have right now in here is the DMs between me and the gym owner. He just sent a list of things that they're looking for, and then I just sent what I thought some core functionality would be if anything looked wrong. We'll go through that. But yeah, this is literally all that's in the folder, is just this notes file. That's it. The first thing I do whenever I start is use a Claude.md. This is just like more instructions that Claude uses. and it just has it cover a lot of its common blind spots. So for example, just skim through it super quick because it is good to understand how the stuff works under the hood just a little bit, so you have a sense for what some of its weaknesses and strengths are. But just telling it to think before coding, to prioritize simplicity. This is a huge thing that my personal philosophy has been shaped on from past experiences. The founding engineer at the last company I worked at was a VC-backed AI startup with 4 of us. He was with 3 devs. He was super, super big on simplicity. And the longer I worked there, the more I realized why he hammered that in so much and how correct he is. You want things to be as simple as possible. You'll hear me repeating that over and over again. I absolutely can guarantee that. Other things, surgical changes, keep changes small in scope, sure. Do things based on goals. I think that's just more of how it frames approaching things. Now, personally, this isn't something I have a really big problem with, but I'd still have this in here because a lot of people will benefit from this. And I got this from a really good dev on Twitter. And after reading it myself, I personally liked this Claude MD a lot. And after using it, it worked well. And that is the test for everything, is just use it. And if it works well, then keep doing it. You don't need to understand everything. Surfacing conflicts. The main thing is keeping patterns the same, right? So right here, it says if 2 patterns contradict, pick one. This is really big because you want your code base to have consistent patterns throughout all of it. Now, that's not for me. I'm not going to be reading any of that. When you're making stuff, you're probably not going to be reading any of it either. But it will make it much more simple and efficient for the AI. And again, the benefit of simple code used to be for humans, right? If it was simpler, we could read it and change it and edit it faster. Now that's like a token usage and time and context window thing, where if you have complicated, inconsistent code, it's going to require more context, that's going to burn more tokens, that's going to make your performance worse, and that's going to make it slower. And those are all things you probably don't want. So focusing on simplicity and consistency across features is very, very important. Reading before you write, another common one. And then number 9, tests verify intent, not just behavior. So pretty much what that means is like you will have a feature for a specific reason. You want to make sure the tests test your code in the context of the reason why you're doing the thing, not just like having a very narrow slice and only testing exactly the thing itself. Like test the thing in a way that is similar to how it will be used and why it's being used. And then checkpointing after a significant step. So if it makes major progress or a big step, just pausing so that we can sync up a little bit. This will prevent it from going off the rails and doing a bunch of stuff you don't want and then wasting a ton of context and time for you to be like, oh yeah, that wasn't what I was building in the first place. Now, ideally, I'll plan a lot with it beforehand to prevent this from happening, but this can still happen. Like it can still drift in a direction you don't want it to. And if you have these checkpoints, it'll just drift less before you have to pull it back on the course, which will save you time and tokens and context and performance. All those things are just hand in hand. 11, this is similar to the conflicts one with patterns, but always match the code base's conventions, even if you disagree. Again, this will make your entire code base consistent. Not for you, because you're not going to be the one reading it, but so that your AI will need to load less context. If everything has the same patterns, then it's not going to need to read every single file to know how things are done. It will be able to infer that from the patterns, but that will only work if there are patterns that it sticks with. And then finally, fail loud. If something goes wrong, surface it so that we can find out about it and adjust it if need be. This is personally a Claude.md I've used for a very long time, so I use it for all my projects. So we'll go here, VS Code, new file, claude.md, and just paste that in here and save. Okay, and now for the notes. So these are just things that I pasted in for my Instagram DMs with them, and I'll zoom out one to make it easier. Again, this is a local Muay Thai gym. It's like a kickboxing with a little bit more, just Thai style fight gym. There's a lot of them around, and they have a lot of customers, and one of the big ways they make money in addition to sessions is private lessons with the instructors. And private lessons obviously are great for the instructors, great for the gym, and great for students as well who are trying to make the most out of their time here. It's a win-win-win. Let's try to make this as easy as possible. Just from the top, looking to make an application to help the gym staff and customers with easier, and then lists out the things that it wants to make easier. First is just basic info of the gym and leading to their WhatsApp or Instagram for communications. Now the framework I'm thinking of is what the user experience will be like and what needs to be built for that. So the user experience is this needs to be on the app, but then also there needs to be a place to set it, right? Like it would be miserable if every time the gym wanted to change their phone number or their Instagram that they had to message me, I had to change that had to get pushed to the app store, and then that update would go out. It needs to be way smoother than that. So we're also going to need some sort of an admin portal to manage things, and then we'll just put whatever things we need to manage in there so they can update their information on their own. They don't need me to do that for them. The app for the members will need to have some way for them to book private lessons and classes as well. And then also, like, things can go wrong with that, right? Like, you need to have a way to fix it if there's a conflict or if they have to cancel or things like that, or if someone just doesn't want to download the app and comes up to the receptionist and says, oh, hey, I'm not going to be able to make this class in half an hour. Can you just cancel it for me, right? So again, that will also have to go on the admin portal. Third is private bookings with certain trainers and their availability. So this kind of ties in with the customer bookings. I guess this is for the group classes and then also the private classes as well. We might want a third part of the app, which will be for the trainers. You know, if I'm a trainer, I might be sick, I might have a family event, I might have to miss a week on vacation or something like that. Like, I should be able to update the app to let it know that I'm not going to be able to take lessons during that time. And then that's just a smoother experience for everyone. Next, check-ins with customers and the receptionist to confirm on the schedule. Cool. And then scheduling for both customer and receptionist. This one just seemed kind of redundant with this one. So, but that kind of goes along with the admin portal. So I think here they were just kind of saying, oh yeah, the receptionist should be able to do that as well. So again, this will be in the admin portal. Another one is waivers. They have you sign a waiver when you first come in. That's on paper. We can just do that electronically. So again, that'll just be another part of the mobile app for the members. And then we'll probably need something on the admin portal to make sure they actually did it as well. And then again, making the member profile, which shows their photo, makes it easier for reception to know who it is. So we'll just have some sort of like basic profile page. We probably don't need anything too fancy. Literally, I think really just a picture and an email and a name is probably enough. If we need to add more, we can add more. Again, you want to start with things really simple and then add complexity as you go. So the goal here is just to make the smallest thing that we can ship and start to get feedback on and build on top of, rather than making something really complex with all the things we think that might be useful. And then when we have to change it, because we will always have to change things, now you have this big behemoth of a project you have to manage. Again, it's going to waste context, that's going to waste tokens, it's going to waste time. Keep it simple, keep it small. Tracking memberships. So yeah, there's like 10-pack memberships and there's also monthly ones. So if someone's here for 3 months, we need to track when they're expired. Tracking the private lessons with trainers to see how many they've done with who and how many times. Again, people can buy individual sessions with trainers, like one-on-one lessons, or they can buy packs. We will need to track all of this. And then also having a history is nice, right? Because if one of the members really liked training with this one trainer, it would be good if they can just go back, see who they trained with, and then just schedule another one, right? This is a great opportunity to give the members a really good experience. And then one more, notifications to the customers and alerts to receptionists when customer memberships are ending. So maybe like, hey, your monthly membership is gonna be ending in a week, or their 10-pack is down to 2. Something like that, so people don't have an unpleasant surprise, right? Like, you wouldn't want someone to show up at class thinking their membership is still active. Maybe they don't bring their wallet on them, so they can't pay for extending their membership, and that could just be a messy situation. You want that stuff to be handled earlier if possible. And then another one for events, right? A calendar, they'll have special classes. Like once a month, they'll have a class that just focuses on sparring. And sometimes the business will be closed for certain holidays, and especially if you're a Thai business and you have a lot of people from other countries that don't know the Thai holidays, they might be surprised when Lunar New Year is in February. This actually happened to me. You have to leave the country. You have to leave Thailand if you're gonna do like the visa that I did. I didn't know that it was Lunar New Year, so I spent a week in Vietnam with just everything closed, and then my Vietnamese visa expired, so I had to go to Cambodia, and it was just a huge mess. I got it done, it took 2 weeks. But yeah, foreigners will not know what your holidays are. So what might seem obvious, like, oh yeah, we're always closed for Lunar New Year, we might have no idea, as I learned painfully. And then also things like fights, right? Like a lot of their members will have fights. It's cool to get to announce that, because part of that gym experience is getting to see some of your teammates fight and just watching that. It's a really cool experience. It's part of the reason why people come here and train. And then one more thing that I'm really glad they added in is that we don't need the app to accept payments, as they prefer to have it at the receptionist place, but at some point in the future, they will want to add it. Now, this type of stuff is really good to have. As part of planning, what you will want to do is know the things you might build in the future, but maybe choose not to build right now. Because you can tell Claude these things and say, hey, build this project knowing that I might add these things in the future, but don't add them. But I want you to design like the foundational framework in a way where it will be able to handle that if I need to add it. Because if you design the foundation in a way where you can't add certain things, that's going to require a lot of churn and a lot of changing things. And if you change things when something's already built, you have a risk of breaking it. So the more you can tell it what you will possibly be adding onto it for the foundation, even if you're not going to add those things, the better. That way in the future, when you go and add those things, you're just reducing your risk of breaking stuff. And then also at some point, we'll maybe get it integrated with their website. Where my mind goes immediately with that is that we'll have some sort of a web app that can use the same backend. But again, that's just a bridge that we'll cross when we get there. Again, though, it's nice to know that we might need that in the future, because I can tell Claude that, hey, we might have a web app that we'll build, so make sure the backend can handle that as well. I know from my personal experience that should be pretty easy, because you would just use like the same form of authentication and stuff. But maybe there are some finer points where you would need to make different decisions if you know you're going to add that in the future, and Claude can go ahead and do that if we make it aware of it. So then these were my thoughts that I replied to them with, just so they had a general idea of what the specific functionality was that I was thinking, and also because I was quoting them a price. So for myself to know how much I would have to charge to make it, I needed to list out all the stuff I would build, estimate how long it would take to build, and then give them a quote based on that times my hourly rate. So core functionality for members pages, just an info. This is just your landing, like we talked about at the beginning, right? WhatsApp, Instagram, events, and special classes, closures and fights. And notifications will be based on this. So the admin will add a fight, and then the members will get notified, something like that. Another tab, bookings, right? Your classes with trainers, get reminders, check in before a class, things like that. This can be both for private classes and for the regular group classes. Third is membership management. You can see your membership. You can see when it expires and when it started. And if you got like a 10 pack, you can see how many you have left. And then profile, this is where you'll have the waiver and then just basic profile info. I think picture, name, and probably like an email. And that's all you really need for the members. For the trainers, originally I had pages because I was going to try to sell them on having this just be a web app that was like mobile friendly, because that's just a little bit less friction than like having someone download something. But with the notifications, you do need that to be a mobile app. Like you could do email over a web app, but I think at that point you're kind of forcing it to be something it's not. And they were pretty solid on like being sure they wanted to have a mobile app. And I was like, hey, this will probably cost, I gave them my estimate of how much more it would be to do it on a mobile app. And they were fine with that price difference. And yeah, it just seemed like they really wanted a mobile app, so that's what they'll be getting. So for the trainers, they'll need some sort of schedule management, right? To be able to take time off, be able to set their availability, like maybe they'll be away for some times, and then also to view their bookings so they know if they need to come into the gym and train with someone. Profile management, like some sort of basic information would be nice. Maybe we don't need this to start, but maybe they'll want to put 2 sentences of their experience, because a lot of them have had some of them have had hundreds of fights and have coached people who are in K1 or the UFC or stuff like that. So being able to showcase that might get you more clients. So it should we should give trainers the opportunity to best represent themselves to try to get them more members. And then for the members, this is great for them too, because they can see a little bit more about the trainers, right? It's a win-win. But one thing worth noting is the trainers are all Thai. Like they all speak some level of English, but you just risk there being a lot of misunderstanding. And also from the standpoint of getting something out there, right? Like this is another tool they have to use. And if you have to use another tool and it's in a language that you don't really speak, you're probably not going to use it. Now, normally you want to keep things as simple as possible, right? Like, oh, we can just ship it in English and then add Thai. The reason why for something like this, I'm actually against that, I think the complexity trade-off is worth it initially, is reducing friction for different stakeholders is very, very important. Think about it from the perspective of the trainer. You're already working at this gym, things are going well, you're getting your private lessons, now they want you to use this app. If it's in English and it's annoying, you're not going to want to use it. Because who are the people who actually want to use it? The owner has buy-in, which is fantastic. I obviously will be supporting it because I'm the one building it. Whenever you're making a project, there's going to be tons of different people using different sides of it. And you want all of them to be as bought in as possible for your project to succeed, right? Like the members could love this and the receptionist could love this, but if the trainers absolutely hate it, this is going to be a nightmare. So if you have secondary stakeholders, make it as easy as possible for them to use what you're building. And I put in a little note here, this could be done through the admin portal, but I think it's just smoother if we have it with trainers, because that's just another link of communication, right? If a member books a private session and that goes to the admin, and then the admin has to message a trainer on WhatsApp, and the trainer has to message the admin back on WhatsApp, and then they have to go back to the portal to add it, and then finally the member gets the confirmation. That's way too many moving parts. Those are going to break, and it's just going to be a hassle for everyone. The trainers can self-serve. They have phones. They know how to use their apps. They're good. And finally, for the admin, that will be the third part. So first is the basic info. They can make announcements like fights, closures, and special classes. They can edit the basic info, and they can just view things as a member to make sure it looks good. The reason why I'm adding this one is this is very low complexity, and this is just a good way to have a little bit of QA to make sure that what you're making looks nice, because that's a big thing. If you make something, you want to be able to check it. Next is bookings. Now the trainers will manage their bookings, but the admin can manage them as well. The use case I think for this is, right, like some people might not want to use the app at all. And if you want to go to the receptionist as a customer, as a member of the gym, and say, hey, I want to have a private lesson with this trainer at this time, you should be able to do that. If you are forced to download this app, that can be something that people don't want. And this just handles a lot of just the chaos of life, right? Like things go wrong, things can break, people can have changes of plans and just tell the receptionist. And the admin in this case will be the receptionist of the gym or either one of the two owners, just putting them in a position where if something goes wrong, they can just fix it immediately. It just handles the chaos of life a lot better. And then membership management, right? If the app isn't processing payments, how does it know what their membership is, right? They're gonna have to go to reception, buy the membership, and then the receptionist will go ahead and put that in on the member's account. So that will have to be done through a portal that they use. And then to start, probably English only. But again, the receptionists are Thai native speakers, so you want this to be as easy for them as possible as well. And then one more thing that I didn't put on here, core functionality for the users. Again, you want to reduce the friction. Adding features that add complexity is a dangerous thing, but reducing friction is generally worth the complexity it will add. This is a very international place, right? Pretty much everyone can speak some level of English, but a lot are not native speakers. It will vary. Some people will have strong English, even if it's not their first language. Some people will have weak English. Again, the more confusion and miscommunication you have over an app, the worse. So we will probably want it to be able to switch languages very easily. So that is all of planning it out. Now let's get started with Claude Code. Now I'm eating dinner while doing this. There's this restaurant nearby. They have steaks for $8 each. It's like a promo. So I've been ordering 3 of those for dinner every day because it's the greatest thing. Now I only need to eat like 2 meals a day, but my hand has steak on it. So I'm not gonna be typing on my computer, but you can just voice to text. If you're talking to Claude Code, you can do so a lot faster than you can type. Even though my words per minute is like 105, I'm a big typer. I'm a good typer. I'm a big man. But like speaking is probably 150 to 180. So like you're just gonna be faster if you speak. So now working with Claude Code, we always want it to ask us questions first. The core problem of vibe coding is you know what you want and Claude knows how to make it. So you have to get the context across. Now the problem is you don't know what it needs to know in order to make the right thing. So just have it ask you. Hey Claude Code, I am building a mobile app for my Muay Thai gym in Thailand. In notes.txt, you will see a list of features that they wanted that they sent me and what I kind of outlined would be needed in order to do that. So I want you to go through the planning process with me. Let's start as broad as possible and then narrow down. So first, I want you to ask questions that are more related to the scope of the project, right? Like what functionality do we want? What are the major pieces? And then once that is fully set, then we can focus on some of the finer points, maybe choosing a stack and larger architectural decisions in order to make what we outlined. And then once that's sorted out, then you can ask some questions on some of the finer points in making specific things once we figured out the stack and how we want to approach actually building this. And then only once we have fully synchronized on the plan and you've gotten explicit approval from me, can you start building on it. And I'm really looking forward to what you make. I want you to ask me as many questions as possible until there is absolutely no ambiguity, starting from as broad as possible to as narrow as I just outlined earlier. The part that's really tragic is this steak place has been making very small steaks. Now they're thick. You can see it's a thick boy, but it's kind of small. I think everyone's been farming these. Like I've just been ordering literally 3 a day every day. They were probably twice as big. And then I think they realized that everyone's just ordering fillets and was like, we can't, this is not profitable. We have to make these smaller. I don't know. It's still way cheaper than like, steak here is honestly kind of expensive. I didn't realize how expensive red meat was because I'm from the Midwest. Like we just have so much cattle that it's like, beef is kind of cheap, to be honest. And then I didn't realize that it's like kind of a delicacy in other places. Like not really a delicacy, but it's just like more expensive. Okay, so it got to us with the questions. The first one I asked is, do you want a custom build, custom but justified, or hybrid? So like essentially using like a third-party service that already does a lot of stuff. In the era of vibe coding, we want it full custom. Now, one thing I'll do a lot of the times, like I like when it asks these questions with options, but if it doesn't have an option that like matches both the title and kind of like the subtext, like off the shelf has been considered and rejected, blah, 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 proceed with a full custom build, I'll just try to clarify a little bit more. Yes, let's go with a custom build. I have experience as a full stack developer and I want to build the entire app in code so that we have full ability to make and change whatever we need to make and change. Next. How should this actually reach members' phones? We want it to be a native app in the store. So real app store place or presence, reliable push. They have to install it. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. What channel carries notifications in gym communication? In-app push. Now again, this one, right? Web push looks concerning, but I think since we mentioned that we're making a native app, that this is fine. Like it will understand us selecting this in the context of a native app and be like, oh, okay, we want it to be a notification, like a normal notification you get from Instagram or something like that. What should V1 actually ship with? I want everything. Pick the single most painful problem and ship only that, then grow from real usage. Yeah, I want to clarify a little bit. So thinnest possible slice. So thinnest possible slice, but I want it to be across all three. So for shipping the V1, I want it to be the thinnest possible slice, but I want it to be across all three. So I want the admin, I want the admin, the trainer and the member portal to all be built out, and have like a little bit of an MVP feature set actually. So not just the absolute thinnest thing, but kind of the core functionality. So things like multiple languages, being able to book stuff, being able to, I don't know, manage your membership, stuff like that. Like it doesn't need to be, we'll get more into that later, I guess. But the general idea is like, it can pretty much do just all the basic stuff at a very basic level. This is teaching me I need to be more concise. I've rambled for too long, man. This is actually the real reason you use speech to text when using Claude Code, is so that you become a better speaker, because communication is the most important skill in a post-AI world. And now, more good questions. Do group classes have a real capacity? No, I don't think they do. And as always, like I would just go through this much faster, but it's useful to share kind of the thought process behind it, because then you will also be able to build stuff like this without needing technical knowledge. There's a concept called one-way doors and two-way doors that was really big at Amazon. Jeff Bezos was huge on it. Essentially, a one-way door is a decision that when you make it, it's very hard to undo. So something like committing to a university that you're going to go to, or moving to a different city, right? Like you can undo them, but it will take a lot of effort to do that. Two-way doors are decisions that are very easy to reverse. So maybe like choosing to go to the movies tonight instead of going out to eat dinner at Chipotle or something. But this is a useful framework to have in mind when you're answering these questions, right? Like, do the group classes have a real capacity limit that fills up? I don't actually know. And what will probably happen through this session is like, it will ask me a lot of questions that I won't know, that I'll have to go and take to the gym owner. And then based on his feedback, I'll go ahead and do a second pass and adjust this accordingly. But you can make a lot of assumptions, right? This is a two-way door. This is not going to be hard to change. This is not like a foundational thing. It's just, can a class have a limit or not? For now, let's just say no cap. Wow, that's funny. How does a member get checked in for a class? We'll want the receptionist to be able to do that. That's very easy. This would be very easy as well. Jim scans the member's QR. This one I actually don't like, because then you have to like sit and pull it up, and that's really annoying. Member self-check-ins on the app is nice. But actually, thinking about this, right, we want this to be simple. If we want, this is something where the friction can easily be changed. So let's do receptionist can tap a name, or they can self-check-in. I think those are the easiest to abuse. I don't know why anyone would check in and then not show up. Yeah, I want to waste my membership. All right, dude, go for it. Now, the strictest one would just be the receptionist tapping a name, and I think that's most similar to how they work now. So I'll actually do this. I'll actually do this for now. We want to keep it simple. I'm being pulled towards these, and I'm actually going to leave in like me changing my mind on this, because I think this shows the thinking process where, we just want it to be simple. Right now, that's how they're doing it. Let's keep doing it like that, and then if we want to change it, we can change it. It'll be easy to do that. So check in, boom. How does a member get a private session with a specific trainer? It can do a request or instant book. I want an instant book. If that's a problem with the trainers, we can adjust that. Now that is a little bit, it's not really a one-way door, but that might be a little bit more time to add. In a post Claude Code world, I think it's relatively doable. Like that might still take a bit of time. But again, the benefit is simplicity. So let's just have it like this. And maybe eventually we can add something like you can only book up to a week in advance. So no crazy stuff is happening. When does the waiver need to legally be? Yeah, let's just draw on signature and times. Actually, I don't know. Not sure, need to ask. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah. And I'll put in a note. Yeah, for this one, I don't know and I need to ask. Can you also make a file that tracks all the questions that I need to ask the gym about? We will probably run into more of those and it would be good to keep track of them. So let's just, if you could make a list and start it off with this one. But for now, just start with whatever is the simplest, like literally just a checkbox or something like that, that doesn't have a high risk of causing a lot of complexity or making a lot of potentially breaking changes if we need to adjust it. I really need to talk more concisely, but you know what? Oh, it's still recording me. Boom. In case you can't tell, I don't actually use the text-to-speech, the speech-to-text super often. I usually still caveman it and just type. But if I'm eating, then I'll use speech-to-text. So, I mean, it's a good habit to get into. Like, you can talk so much faster than you can type that, like, if you're starting and developing those habits, just do the speech-to-text. But, you know, there's a little bit of a difference, you know. I can type at 140 words per minute sometimes. So, you know, for you, you know, speech to text might make a little bit more sense. But for a professional like me, I don't need that. I can type faster anyways. And the bottleneck is thinking for me anyways. All right, enough of that shenanigans. What does the gym actually sell? Both time-based unlimited, single drop-ins, class packs, private session bundles, literally all of those. Yeah. Locations. This is actually a really cool one. Yeah. Is it one gym or several, right? And it's like, these are some things that you won't think to specify because it seems so obvious to you. You're like, oh yeah, I'm making an app for a gym and there's only one gym. And you're like, oh, of course there's one of them, but there's a lot of gyms that are several. So one site, multiple disciplines. It's literally just one. It's one with only Muay Thai. It's only one gym with one location and they only offer Muay Thai. Occasionally they'll have a special class, like a Saturday sparring one, but it's literally just Muay Thai. And then they also have one special class on Mondays at 10 a.m. for beginners. We can get more into the scheduling later. But yeah, it's literally just Muay Thai, group classes, and then Muay Thai private sessions. That's it. Tourist mix. What share of members are short stay tourists? I'll give them like a rundown on this. Probably about a third are a week or 2 weeks. Another third are maybe 3 weeks to 6 weeks, and then another third are longer than 6 weeks. Almost all members are not Thai, and the distribution is pretty varied. You'll have people from various countries in Europe, from the Americas, from China, from Korea, and a lot from Australia as well. Have his data, just trainer. Yes, we'll want an audit. Actually, no, we want an audit. Yeah. I was going to say, like, for the sake of simplicity, we don't need one, but I think just, like, we want to keep the history of the trainer sessions. And then we can use that, the receptionists can use that information to pay them out appropriately. So we'll submit that. And I can go back to talking smack about the fact that you probably can't type at 140 words per minute. Now for this one, thankfully, it was like one of the few things I asked the owner about in person, and he said that their admin actually uses like a tablet, so I'm going to tell them that. All of them will be mobile apps, and they need to be it needs to be tablet friendly, so the admin will have an app on their tablet. Look at me, speaking more concisely. That would have been 3 paragraphs earlier. You're watching growth happen in real time. All right, where's the back end? What's nice, okay, I don't know if it started doing this now. I always ask it to make recommendations and explain things when it's asking me questions. And if you're non-technical, this is great for you as well, because this is how I've learned stuff. Like, I don't know, I haven't worked with Supabase. I've worked with Supabase very, very little. So I don't really know it, but it covers the gym scale. It'll be 25 a month when it grows. It keeps things clean. I've worked with Firebase, which is similar, but again, if you're non-technical, just if you explain what you want well for the technical stack, you can usually just rely on it for the most part. It's still good to like read these, and yeah, some stuff will go over your head. That's fine, but you'll start to absorb things with time. Like, you don't need to know what SQL is, but like row level security, that sounds good, right? Like, you'll have security on your items. It has authentication built in. That's great. You'll need people to log in. File storage to remember photos. That totally makes sense, right? They'll be uploading pictures. You need to store that. So cool. It looks like it covers stuff. It even talks about like the free tier covering the gym scale, the pricing, that stuff you don't need to be technical to think about. So those are things you can still look at and still get benefit from. Personally, I'm more familiar with this stuff because I'm technical. But again, if you're not, like, take the time to read through this. This will make you a lot stronger. How do people sign in? Email, password. I really like Apple, Google sign in, bro. I really like, keep it simple, but I can't. This one I'm gonna indulge. I'm gonna indulge on this one. You should keep it simple, but I just hate like going to a gym. They ask me to download an app and I have to make a new login and I can't just sign in with Google. Actually, it just makes me dislike them immediately. So I don't want people to dislike our Muay Thai gym. So I'm gonna give them Apple and Google sign in, and also it's not too big of a lift, which is good as well. How do reception created members, the ones who never install the app, work? The reception creates a real. So this is a really good case, right? Like, if somebody doesn't use the app, but they're still getting tracked through the admin, like with their membership and stuff, how does that work? Reception creates a real member with a photo waiver and entitlements. That person later installs the app. They claim the record by email. I think that makes complete sense. Let's double check what the other options are. Drop-ins are a simpler entity that never become a full member. Like, if someone's just doing a one-time drop-in, cleaner to build, but a tourist who returns next session starts from zero. That's a tough one. I like that as well because it's simpler. Every member is a real account from the start, created the desk with a temporary password. No. Yeah, let's do, and this is another good option, right? Like, not sure, walk me through the trade-off. Let's actually go with this because I think it might be nice for, because there's two different situations. There's two different situations you'll need it to handle, right? Someone's drop-in, they're just trying out the gym, they come once, they never come back. A lot of people do that, right? Because they come here, they try 5 different gyms, and they pick a different one, and they never come back to yours. You don't need to have them as a full member, right? However, like, if you have someone who never downloads the app but comes here every day for 3 weeks, right? Like, you'll kind of want them to be in there. I think since they have people signing waivers, that indicates some level of record keeping, even for people who only come once. So for that reason, I think this will go better with the infrastructure they already have. So I'm going to go with this, just knowing that the gym does that right now. And also, they get everyone's Instagram and then they like tag you on their story. So again, this indicates a level of record keeping, like, even for people who only come once. So I'll do that. And again, this is one of those edge cases where, like, I could make a note of it and talk to the gym owner about it. So I'm actually going to mention that right after I eat this little piece of steak. Now we're getting to some bigger architecture questions because we kind of like laid out what we actually want to build. Now we're starting to get a little bit narrower, right? So, like, are we doing one app for all 3 or a separate one? This one says a public member and trainer app in both stores, a separate staff admin tablet app. I actually, so you can do this thing on the App Store called Test Flight, which is where you upload apps to, if you're just going to test them. And this can be useful for you in some cases. Just to share a quick story, my app got rejected from the App Store when I was making one for our thesis project when I was graduating college. And they said it was essentially just a demo app for like a smart home thing. That was just like, we were using RF signals to do like smart home stuff. Whatever. It was computer engineering. I made an app to go with it. App Store said, hey, this isn't like a public thing. You're not putting it on our App Store. Use Test Flight. The thing with Test Flight is your app expires after 90 days. and you have to manually invite people to install it. And that's just more complexity, right? Like there's a real chance that 6 months from now, I'll be living in another place, the app will be running smoothly, and then it'll expire after 90 days and I'll have to go re-invite the admins and whatnot. I think having one app where based on who you log in as, that takes you to the right route. I think that's just the simplest one. But this means you have to have tight cybersecurity on your backend, right? Because that admin code, right? Like that app, it's essentially just like a different page is the admin stuff. And yeah, it's just tough because like you could have someone literally just get like the admin login and then just download the app and log in as an admin. But I think that'll just be a matter of keeping an admin login secure. If we want to add 2FA later, we can. But I think just one app role gated makes the most sense and it keeps it the simplest as well. So I'm actually going to lean with that just because I've dealt with test flight in the past and it's just more complexity. We'll want to keep it simple. We'll go with that. This is a bit of a hot take though. I'm not going to lie. I'm going against the recommendation. Maybe there's some people flaming me in the comments. One app, role gated. Your security needs to be on the back end anyways. All right. That's my justification. Where does membership credit payroll logic live? Postgres functions in RLS. I don't know what a Postgres function. I kind of know what a Postgres function is. Not really. This is the edge of my expertise, but the concepts are the same. Deducting a class credit, expiring a pass, recording a complete or private, or blah, 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 traditional database functions. Possible to corrupt row level security. Sure. You can have edge functions, business logic running server side, calling the database. Multi-step balance changes need careful transaction handling. Let's just do this, the recommended one. This is in the back end. The only concept I would say you really need to know if you're non-technical, and I'll probably do a video on this if I haven't already, is like back end versus front end. So front end is the code that is on the person's device. You never want any security stuff to be checked there because someone could just like not do that. They could see how your front end is talking to your back end and then just do the same thing and be like, trust me, I'm logged in. And then if your back end never checks that they're actually logged in, it'll be like, okay, you can add 10 credits to your membership or whatever. All your security stuff needs to be on your back end. Your back end is code that runs on your machine. Your machine is going to be cloud compute or a service, in this case, Supabase. That stuff you have full control over, right? Like if somebody gets in there, you're screwed anyways. Your backend is what will be your source of truth. Because the core problem is like, where do you keep track of all this stuff, right? Like membership statuses, who's a member, who's not a member, who's a trainer, what a trainer's schedule is, right? If everyone just gets a copy of it to their phone, those will go out of sync. Versus if you just have that all in one place, that's kind of what your backend is at a conceptual level. You do all your authentication and security stuff there. So yeah, we'll just keep it in our backend. This is also in our backend. I kind of know what the differences of these are from a technical standpoint, but like, just go with the recommended one. It's never going to kill you. How are push notifications delivered? This one I personally know Expo Push is the right way to do it. But again, if you're non-technical, let's just read this. One API for iOS and Android handles tokens and delivery, triggered from Supabase and a membership. It handles stuff for free, right? That's kind of what you want. One, even if you don't know what an API is, right? That's one thing for iOS and Android. We're gonna have to do iOS and Android. Cool, that solves another problem for us. What's this one? No intermediary, full control, more setup, credentials, keys per platform. Again, this is more complexity that you have to maintain. We're not doing crazy stuff with push notifications, right? It's gonna be very basic. So if there's something that takes care of the stuff for us, let's just use that thing. What languages ship in V1 and where? English, Thai, staff default Thai, full I18N. This is one of my favorite words. There's this thing people will do in tech. If you ever heard of A16Z, they're like a startup incubator. They're like a VC fund. But they'll like, if a word is really long, they'll just take the first and last letter and then count how many letters are in between and then just replace that with a number. So I18N is internationalization. And then between the I and the N, the like internationalization is 18 letters. So they just call it I18N. My first time running into that was like Amazon Alexa, because obviously you need that for there. Got a lot of customers in different countries. I was like, why are you calling this? What does the 18 come from? Internationalization. Cool. Full internationalization across all apps. Member app defaults to English. Absolutely, stay staff and trainer default to Thai, one translation system. I'm gonna say this, but I want to make sure it has the capacity to add them. So what you said for the first option looks good between English and Thai everywhere, with English being the default. We can actually have English be the default for all three, but just make sure we have the ability to add other languages pretty easily, because at some point I think it would be nice to add some common languages like Ukrainian, Russian, French, Spanish, Chinese, and Korean, and maybe German. But most of the people who speak German speak pretty good English, anyways, to the app. So be sure we can do that. Because, yeah, fortunately, I've been training at that gym for like 6 months. I'm just thinking back on a lot of the people who were there. Most of the people who have the weakest English are like, if you're Chinese or Korean, you're not really using it that much. So I'm just thinking back to like what some of the most common languages were. And I think, yeah, it would really just be like French, Spanish, German, Russian. Russian and Ukrainian, I think, are like kind of intelligible. I feel like that might be a flashpoint that I don't know I'm walking into. But I feel like there's always those languages that are neighbors and they're like, we're totally different, but like they can just understand each other. I don't know if Russian and Ukrainian is one of those. And then also with like the current situation, maybe there's like implications that they should actually just be one country because of that or something. I don't know. But it'd be cool to have both. We want to make everyone feel welcome at our gym. That's the goal, is a good customer experience. And even if they're the same language, I don't care. We're putting both of them in to make them both feel represented and seen. It's the customer experience. That's what we're maximizing for. When does the gym expect to see you something? Weeks, demo soon. Bro, I want this to be done in I want this to be built out in a week. Like probably less. I want this to be done in less than a week, and then just like, because you're just gonna have to wait for it to be on the App Store. I just want a demo to be on my App Store account. I want the demo to be ready in unironically 2 days. But then like App Store will have to approve it over the course of the next 5 days. I'm gonna say this. The deadline doesn't matter. I want you to focus on making things with no tech debt and keeping them as simple as possible, while just having a solid MVP that we can get valuable, useful feedback on. Don't make any trade-offs that sacrifice speed for best practices. Keep things simple, make things maintainable. Don't rush it. Yeah, and also the other thing is like Claude is really bad at understanding timeframes. Like it thinks that like 4 weeks is a long time to develop a thing. We live in a post-Claude Code world. A week is a long time. Like this app, if I was working on it full time and it took a full week, like 40 hours, I would be kind of disappointed in myself. So no, I'm doing this. Go. Entitlements. What does that mean? A member has both an unlimited pass and an unused 10 pack. Which gets consumed first? Unlimited first, preserve credits. Yeah, done. What notifications ship in V1? Membership expiring soon. Staff alerts. Announcements and schedule changes. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah, just membership expiring soon, credits running low, announcements and schedule changes. Staff roles, admin role, one role. No, just one owner versus receptionist. One admin role. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't recommend this to me ever again. It doesn't understand simplicity. All right, we make it work, right? This is a small business. This is a high trust area. So like, I don't think the owner would be pressed about the admin just having like the receptionist just having full power. I think he'll probably want that because he'll probably just be like, she can just take care of everything. I don't need to get involved in this. She's got it. And the receptionist, they're both beasts. In like a good way. Who confirms a private session actually happened? This is the payroll autocomplete admin can correct. Yes. Yeah, let's do that. Does reception check-in need to work without internet? No, keep it simple. That's interesting. It was like you can have some system that like stores it and then fixes it when they're connected again. No, we don't need to do that. Also, like my intuition is that the receptionist will be doing most of the check-ins anyway. So we'll do that because like cancellation rules mainly for privates and strangers are paid. Free cancel, log it. Sure. This is one of those things where I think this will be a taste. This will be the gym owner's taste, right? He'll know when a cancellation should like still be charged for. So for now, let's start it like this. Again, this is kind of like a two-way door, right? It's not going to be a hard decision to adjust. How far ahead can members book? Let's do 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that makes sense. You love to see that. All decisions are locked, writing the final plan. Let's go. Okay, cool. It even like built this whole, okay. Yeah, let's go, dude. All right. Muay Thai gym in Thailand, blah, blah, blah. Requirements come from notes. Nothing's built. Governing constraint from the user, no deadline, no tech debt. Perfect. Simplest thing that is solid and maintainable, no trade-offs that buy speed at the cost of doing it properly. That is exactly correct. Goal V1, a thin but complete slice across all 3 roles, member, trainer, admin. Good enough that the gym runs on it daily and gives real feedback. That's exactly what we were looking for. 1 location, Muay Thai only, group plus one-on-one. Yep. Recurring weekly group schedule plus occasional specials and closures. Done. Group classes are never capped. Nobody is turned away. That's right. Everyone is welcome. Everybody get in here. We're learning Muay Thai today. Come on. Member mix, it got the distribution of how long they're staying. Almost all non-Thai. Looks good. Trainers are paid on privates. That data's in payroll. I don't know what percentage they get. I think just having a history so that then the owner can go do whatever he needs to do with it. It should be plenty good for what'll be useful for them. Product custom build, user full stack dev, yep. Native app, yeah. It actually nailed this. Yeah, the Apple fee to have an account is $99 a year and Google's $25, so I think it's $124, unless if that's updated. My training data is out of date too. Claude's not the only one. One app, role gated, yep. Member, trainer, admin, all on one, excuse me. Sorry about that. An app push for notifications, excuse me again. No line or WhatsApp, yeah. If we need WhatsApp integration, we can do that. I don't see them asking for it. I18N, yeah, this is the big thing is I want the, what's it called? Adding this later must be a translation file drop, never a refactor. So it's going to put in all the infrastructure that we need in order to change the languages, but we will not actually be doing much more than just Thai and English. I think, yeah, I'm fine with it having to. I don't know like if I want the member app to only be English to start, or if it can be English and Thai, but I really don't think it matters that much, so just let it continue. Very convenient that Claude Code is fluent in every language. Makes it pretty nice. I don't know, I'm sure there's some that it's not fluent in, but you know what I mean. Group classes uncapped, booking window 2 weeks, check-in. Just gonna skim through these. Entitlement prudence, unlimited pass first, preserve credits, private sessions, instant book, private completion, autocomplete, cancellation, free cancellation, but logged, looks good, waivers, checkbox for now against version waiver text looks good. Oh, that's a cool one. So it'll keep track of what version of the waiver they signed. So if they change the waiver, but a member signed a past version, like they'll still have that record, which you will probably need if there's a situation where you would need a record that they signed a waiver if they're like trying to sue you or something. So that makes sense. Private tracking, payroll grade, I think that just means it's going to like make sure it's secure and probably have backups of it or something like that. We can talk more about that later. Walk-ins, just always do full profile. Reception creates a real record every time. I think that makes sense. 1 admin role, trainer's a separate one. Looks good. Doesn't see other trainers' numbers. Looks good. Offline, online only, no offline queue. Looks good. Payments out of scope. This is actually something I was worried about it missing when I read the beginning, is it didn't say anything about how we might need to process payments later. And I was going to be like, oh, you need to remember that it'll miss out on some things, and we still need to set the foundations up to be able to do payments later. No, it listed that here perfectly. So it kind of mogged me. I'm not going to lie, dude. It's tough. Notification shipping. Oh, no, don't do that. Notification shipping in V1. Membership expiring soon. This is the stuff we talked about. Looks good. And then the stack. So it just decided the stack for me because I never said Expo or React Native, although that is objectively the correct choice. The benefits, it's 1 code base on both platforms, so iOS and Android, 1 release pipeline. It's just you want to not have 2 different code bases for the same thing, and Expo takes care of that. Again, if you're non-technical, you kind of don't like just read this and understand it. Like, okay, so it handles both platforms, and I only need to release it in one way. That makes it good if you're doing both iOS and Android, which we will be because Americans are all Apple or nothing, baby. And then the commies in the rest of the world use Android. So the back end is Supabase, looks good. The why, we don't need to go super in depth, but again, free tier covers this gym. Business logic, I don't know, sure, I'll take your word for it. Clients can't corrupt balances. Great. Email password and actually no, hold on a second. It's good to read this. Postgres functions. So Postgres is some type of database functions. I don't know what RLS is. So deducts credits, checks when passes are expired, and private session records are transactional database functions. Clients can't corrupt balances, right? So there's some way that it makes sure certain rules are enforced when they're doing the business logic, which is like changing how many credits they have if they are using one of the credits on a 10-pack for a class, for example. Authentication, email password, plus Apple and Google. You know it. I love Google Sign It. Man, it just makes me so happy when an app is like, when an app or service allows me to sign in with Google, it just makes me so much happier. Works for every nationality. Yeah, no, because that's the other big thing, right? It's like a lot of these people are going to have issues with like cell service because like you go to another country, you might not have all your like the same phone number and stuff. You might have a different SIM card. So we don't want to text them, be like, oh, what's your phone number? They're gonna be like, dude, my phone number doesn't work here. This is not my home country. So just having it be email is great. Push, Expo push, looks good. We already looked at that earlier. In terms of choosing in terms of choosing Expo as our way to do the pushes, storage, Supabase storage, again, like we're just using the same thing. That's what we want. And then this is also within Supabase, right? Like we don't want to have storage be a different thing, like Amazon, AWS, cloud bucket storage, when it's like our backend's already all on Supabase. If they have a storage service, let's just use the same, like you don't want to have, you want to keep the number of providers you have at a minimum, right? Unless if they provide real value, like Expo is like a third party kind of package and service that solves the massive problem of like making deployments easier. And yes, React Native already handles both platforms, but Expo just makes that so much easier that it's like, if something isn't really making your life easier, you should not be using it. And Expo makes our life easier with notifications, with deploying. So that's why we're using it. We want to use as few things as possible because always you want to keep complexity down. That'll keep your token usage down. That'll make Claude be faster and make it break less stuff as you change things. Okay, core tables. Let's just go through this super quick to understand. So profiles, it'll have like some data on the people. This makes sense. We'll have profiles. Waiver versions, that makes sense. As we update versions of waivers, we'll keep track of all those records. So if somebody has an old waiver, we'll keep track of that. Membership products, so what the gym sells, different passes, different credit packs, drop-ins, private bundles, looks good. Memberships, so each purchase membership will have their profile. We'll have like the dates, credits remaining, private credits remaining, status, looks good. Class templates and class instances, so these are like essentially the types of classes we have. Like we might have one that's Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., something like that. It wouldn't be that long. It's only 2 hours. Bookings, this is where they actually say they're booking a class. Check-ins, this is that someone's checked in. Trainer availability and trainer time off. This goes into the trainer side of booking things so they can set their schedule. Private sessions and private session events. This is for payroll to keep track of things. I think the admin can adjust it. Announcements, again, so we'll need this, cool. Gym settings, so that'll be somewhere in our database as well. And then finally, push tokens and notifications log. So when a user, in order to send a push notification to a person, they have to like approve that you can send push notifications to them, right? Like, you get that little permission where they'll be like, hey, you just downloaded our app. Can you please let us send notifications to you? And you'll click like approve. Your phone will send them a thing that gives them permission to send notifications to you. Without that thing called the push token, they can't send notifications to you. So it's just kind of like a security thing. We have to store those so we can send notifications to them. And then notification log, that'll just keep track of our notifications. Maybe so we have a history, and maybe, I don't think we would need that to make sure we don't double send, but however it ends up doing the logic, I'm sure that can come in handy. Also, it's nice to have logs in case like people are having issues with notifications. We can go in and see how that's been going wrong. So build sequence, first the foundation, Expo and project, local backend, some migrations, internationalization scaffolding, so like the English and the Thai stuff looks great. And then after it gets the foundation, then it'll kind of set up the data, right? All the tables. The row level security policies will just enforce things like user access, right? So like a trainer can't set another trainer's availability. A member can't use a different member, can't use a different member's credits on their class pass or whatever, right? But then maybe an admin can do everything, right? So that just kind of sets that stuff up. Then authentication, profiles, and role routing. So kind of having the 3 different apps for our member, trainer, and admin. The admin, it's going to build the admin one first, and then the member, and then the trainer. I think just because the admin can kind of do everything, I guess maybe that's the rationale for why it's being built first, but I don't think the order between admin, member, and trainer is that important. But it does seem that admin is kind of the biggest one because they have everything, and then member still has a lot of stuff, and then trainer is kind of the smallest, so it makes sense that you would build trainer last of the 3. And then just kind of making things work with private lessons, notifications, and then just polishing everything else. Looks good. And verification, blah, blah, blah. They're going to put real tests. It'll put real tests on the entitlement and payroll functions. Looks good. So things like rejecting expired passes. And this is a really big thing for maintenance, right? Like, we're going to be changing stuff, and it's very easy to break stuff when you're changing things. So making sure you have a lot of tests for like the most important stuff will make you catch when things break. Because it's not things might break. They will break. And you'll either catch them and fix them, or you won't. And maybe someone right? Like, this is a really bad one, right? Double deduction on check-in. If I was a member and I bought a 10-punch pass, I went to one class and it counted me twice, I would not be happy, right? I'd feel like this gym's trying to jip me. So like, that needs to not happen, obviously. So we'll put in tests for that to make sure that it just manages some of the risk, right? And sometimes things will still get through, right? Like, I'll share with you, honestly, like, probably some stuff is going to happen, and we'll cross that bridge when we cross it. But this just reduces the risk of bad things happening for the members, which we don't want, right? Our goal is to make the gym's life easier and the members' lives easier, and the trainer and the receptionist. We want to make all their lives easier. And just having really good tests will prevent those breakages from being found by them. We want it to be found by us so we can fix it before it makes their life annoying. Manual end-to-end run. This is a little bit complicated, but if it's confident, this is one of those things where I just like, sometimes Claude Code will say it can do something I don't think it can well, but then I'll just be like, all right, try it, and then we'll see what happens. So this one I'm curious to see. Like, it'll run it on a simulator, create a walk-in, sell a 10-pack, check them in. So it's like doing a full thing on a simulator. That's awesome. That's like, I don't know. That would impress me. I'm actually kind of like hype because that would make like end-to-end testing is a really big thing. So in your testing, there's really like three tiers of testing. The smallest one is unit testing, right? Like, you'll have like just one little function, maybe for check-ins. And you're testing this little check-in function to be like, if I say this member checked in, do you reduce their count by 1 if they have a 10-pack? Like, really, really small things. The second thing is integration testing. So you're testing a whole feature. So this is testing like the entire check-in feature. Inside of that will also be choosing what membership to use, right? They might have an unlimited and a 10-pack. Does it choose to use the unlimited if they haven't gone to a class yet today, right? That's inside the whole feature. That's not just like the little subtract 1 from the 10-pack logic and a unit test. That's in the broader feature itself. So that would be an example of a test for an integration test. It's your whole feature. And then an end-to-end test is like actually going in your app and testing the thing. And you'll want to have tests at all of those layers. And generally, LLMs are really good at unit and integration tests because that's just testing really small parts of code or larger parts of code, versus an end-to-end test is like me actually going on the app and doing things. And it looks like it's able to do that now. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's able to do that now, I guess is the better thing to say. No step is reported complete until it runs. What does that mean? I don't care. Skipped work. I think this is just talking about how it builds stuff, whatever. And then it makes questions for the gym.md. Cool. Yeah, it'll handle that. Whatever. Unanswered details. Diluted to the simple safe choice. Private sessions default to 60 minutes. That sounds right. Reception. And this is actually cool too, because this is from the Claude MD, right? It's like, don't make assumptions, like ask us stuff. Private sessions default to 60 minutes. Looks good. They can book more than one a day, sure. Reception takes member photo at desk and tablet. That's what makes know who this is work. Members may also upload on their own. Looks good. Emergency contact is optional. Sure. Like, again, I want to reduce complexity, but that's just such a small thing that it really doesn't matter. Like, it's not really a feature. It's literally just a single field on the member. So sure, they can have that. No minor guardian handling in V1. Yeah, no, we don't need to worry about that yet. They do have a different policy for kids, I think, under 13. But like that's not like a core. That's not a core part of the app. Class instances are generated 8 weeks ahead from the weekly template. Sure. 2-week booking window. That looks good, and that's everything. So yeah. Yes, and auto accept. I'm not going to manually improve the edits. Go. But one thing worth mentioning is what you will experience next is different from what we're going to see right now. If you haven't, which you probably haven't unless you've built this stuff before, if you have, that's great. If you haven't, you probably don't have Expo installed. You probably don't have Supabase installed. You probably don't have Docker installed. I just know off the top of my head, those are going to be 3 things. At least I'm assuming it's going to be running the backend and Docker, whatever. That's not important technical stuff. There's just going to be stuff that you don't have installed if you haven't built this before. So what you will probably experience right about now is, and it's still like, I guess it's not installing stuff here, but I think it installed some other stuff here. It will be installing stuff, right? Like I have Expo installed already. I have NPM installed on my computer. I have Git installed on my computer. Now, if you don't know what those are, don't worry. I either will be doing a video or have done a video on like just core tools and vibe coding. Again, you don't like really need to know exactly what they are, but you will just have to install stuff, and maybe it'll start installing a thing, and you'll just have to say, hey, what do I need to install? And what's great is like Claude Code can check what you have installed. Like there's commands it can run to see if you have stuff installed. So it can run those, it knows what it needs to install, and it will just tell you what you need to do, or it will just go do it, and you'll just have to do what I'm doing now and click yes and give it permission to install stuff. Now the difference is like every time I click yes, this is going pretty quickly because it's doing smaller stuff, right? It's like, it's not installing a massive software package. It's just running a command to like set up an app or something like that, right? And you might run into some headaches with installation. Like installation is one of those things in coding that like no one really talks about as part of it or a skill, but it is something that takes a lot of time and can take a lot of headaches. Now over the course of the past like 10 years, it's only gotten easier. So hopefully you won't have to deal with that many headaches, but that will be just something that's different in your experience that you should know. Since again, the goal is like, I hope this serves as something that inspires you to build something on your own. Not really inspires, but like shows how possible it is. Cause like, yes, I have a lot of tech experience, whatever. I didn't use any of that in building this, right? The concepts you don't need to be technical for to understand how to describe what you want and think through certain things. And like, sure, I'm familiar with Expo and a few different languages and maybe can make a few design decisions, but for the most part, right, like if you're just very clear about what you want and you go with the recommended stuff and ask it to ask you questions, you're going to be in a really good spot to build some stuff. And with that Claude MD file in here, right, like it's doing a lot of the stuff for making tests, like making tests in here. And it's going to think about maintenance. It's going to think about deployment. Just make sure to emphasize that you want it to be simple and that you don't want it to cut corners. So, and this is actually a perfect time. I'm just going to let this run. I'm going to let this build. It's getting to be a little dark out, so we will pick this back up. Once it's done with this, I'll just keep clicking yes. It's not really very valuable for you guys to be watching. So I'll pick this up tomorrow for me and in about 2 seconds for you.